Welcome to part 4. This is how to spot reversals in crypto. This not only works in crypto, but it also works in currencies, commodities, anything with a lot of leverage. Okay, so like last time, this is a chart of Bitcoin. This is back in the summer of 2024. So the way I look at it is I want to find the extremities in the data set. So for this instance, we're going to be looking for the lows, but in the last video I showed you how to do it with the highs. It's very similar. So some areas I'm looking for is here, here, here. Pretty straightforward. Where were the sort of the extreme lows? And then I want to see how price behaves after it takes out these lows. So the first example is this low over here. We can see that price took it out, but based off of how much price has moved in the past, when price took it out, we would have expected it to go deeper. And when it doesn't go deeper, that could be a sign of accumulation. So in this instance, it doesn't go deeper relative to how much movement we've seen in the past. This is usually indicative of a potential buy opportunity. So once it regains it, you just want to find the higher lows. There was two opportunities, one here and one here. And then eventually price broke out higher. The next example is finding this low here, which we just talked about. Same situation, except this one's a bit different because it did go quite deep, right? At least relative to the movements in the past. A couple things to note though is how drawn out this wick is, and then the most important thing to note is how much volume came in. So this shows that although price was dumping quite quickly and quite significantly, there was more trading activity that happened in this dump than anywhere else in the past. This also shows potential accumulation. So similar to the previous example, you wait for the retest of that. Unfortunately, there was nothing that really happened here, but eventually price did end up retesting it. So in this example here, you get the retest, the trade works out quite nicely. In this example, you get the retest, and the trade also works out quite nicely. Anytime there's a solid retest and price doesn't, go significantly lower, or doesn't really hover around here for a long period of time, that shows which side of the market is in control. So in this instance, it would be the bulls who are in control, and that's usually a sign that they will remain in control for the next time sort of these battles occur. So if that's the case, then we can actually look at the previous battle. So we're playing off of this low here. It got taken out, it got retested. Okay. So let's look at the next one, which would be the low prior to this low. The same occurrence happened again. The bulls won it yet again. And you can use this all the way up for any time in the past that a lot of market participants had the same idea, right? They all bought in here, and validation likely at the extremity, which was at the low. Once that gets taken out, we want to see it happen again. So same occurrence at this low. They all had their invalidations at the low. It eventually got taken out. And so the first step is to see if the bulls win here. And if they do in a decisive fashion, then the next step is to look at the previous one, which is here. They win it again. That's usually a good sign that the price is rather strong on the buy side. As a result, Bitcoin eventually went out to make new all-time highs above 100K. So this strategy isn't going to work every single time. No strategy does work every single time. But on the higher time frame, it's quite reliable. And a trick you can use is once you've identified these movements on the higher time frame, then you can go to the lower time frame and get even better risk reward on your trades. Now, when you go to the lower time frame, in this instance here or this instance here, it could get a little messy, and sometimes it might take a couple stabs at the opportunity, so you might get stopped out once or twice here on the lower time frame, but you'll get much better risk reward as to where you'd put your stop loss, and the same can be said here.